Definitely douse myself in coffee, and I made a face. Sally's Cajun chicken. First sound I hear in the morning, I live between two parks, so I think the first sound in the morning is the sound of chirping parakeets, because London is absolutely swarming with them. So if I'm lucky, I wake up to the cacophony. How do you say that word? Cacophony of birds. They have taken over, but I like them. They're beautiful. I've only done one. It was for Tesco's, and it was, I don't know if anyone remembers when Tesco's did this kind of very like personable stories, like Sally's Cajun chicken. And I would sort of describe, I like to come home and stir a hot pot of spicy bolognese. And it was in that kind of, sultry Scottish voice for Tesco's sort of meals. Very on brand with this project, I think I played a sort of Viking Chief in some school play when I was a kid. Yeah, I think that was my first kind of time getting to do it in front of an audience and on a stage. I don't remember much about it, but remember that, it really gripped me. I don't know if I've just sort of made this up in my head since, but I do remember being read Orca, The Adventures of a Goose Without Feathers, and the illustrations are so beautiful. I remember that book being astonishing for the illustrations, and it's a very sad, very sweet story. The sound that comes to mind for me is probably the squeal or mewling of my cat Marcel when I come home. So when I enter the door, she's usually there, meowing very loudly because she wants to be fed. But that sound I associate with sort of entering my home and coming inside and her being there meowing at me. I don't know if this is admired, but it's definitely a story that stayed with me when I was young. I accidentally / sneakily watched The Shining on my own when I was 8. I think I was on holiday with my parents and I snuck into a room and watched it on VCR. Don't ask me why, but I remember having an incredibly strong impression by Jack Nicholson, mainly because I found it terrifying. That performance absolutely gripped me and I think made me quite interested in make-believe and how people can pretend so successfully. I grew up partly in France and I lived in France when I was 19 in Paris, and I did quite a lot of physical theatre, and I met the woman who runs a physical theatre school called Delphine Hellier, and she and I are still close and friends now, and she sort of was a mentor to me in terms of performance, but also kind of just life. Yeah, she's been a good, wise friend to have. The first reaction I had when I read the script for Eynhallow was that it was a thrilling adventure story and it really gripped me. It's a beautiful fable and it has loads of exciting twists and turns. So I think the word that came to mind was sort of adventure. The thing about Stroma in this book is that she sort of wears her heart on her sleeve and she's very upfront about who she is and who she loves. So she was kind of an open book of a character, but there is a big twist. I mean, there are many, but there's one particular plot twist in the book, which I will not give away, that definitely caught me by surprise. I was reading it on a train and I made a face, when I made like a kind of shocked face, and I saw someone laughing and they'd been watching me sort of reading my screen. So it was a sweet but embarrassing moment for me on public transport. In this, there's fighting and then there's also romance. It's always a challenge to read romance or love scenes just because it becomes quite quickly hilarious to read, for it to become literotica. When I come in, I definitely douse myself in coffee and caffeine just to make sure I'm fully awake and fully tingling with caffeine. And then I do a lot of, I think, particularly if I'm doing different accents, I try and sort of get my mouth working. So a lot of fluttering the lips and, weird facial expressions to wake up my face.